Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Don't you want to sound rich?
Welcome to the 53rd episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. I am your host, Floyd Johnson, and with me today I have two special guests. First is the spoiler of the Social Suplex family, Mr. Murray Bone. How you doing, Murray?
I'm good. It's happy to be on here for the first time.
Yes, if, just letting you know, he will spoil you in your chats. Don't get me wrong. James hates him. Second is my second favorite rapper, Rich Latta. How you doing, Rich?
Oh, whoa, number two. That's high on the list. I now need to know who number one is.
Oh, it's Eminem. I'm that Eminem's the greatest. God. I'm the Eminem is the greatest rapper of all time guy. Y'all were talking about me on the show this week.
So I'm gonna have to send you one of them hats now, Floyd.
Yes. Hey, I always say, I've heard a lot of rappers in my life, and he was the first one that rapped about stuff that I could actually somewhat relate to. I was gonna say I lived in a middle class family. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't know the struggle. Nobody was slinging crack rock. You know what I mean? I was watching Flintstones. So when other rappers would talk about that, I didn't really get it.
Hey man, I just hope you don't relate to everything Eminem had going on. That man was into some shit.
No, you know, if you understand, I was like 17, 18 when Eminem blew up. I related to the anger. You know what I mean? When you're young and you basically being told what to do and all that kind of stuff, and you're not liking your parents. I related to that. That was what I related to. It was, but yes, my musical tastes, which are self-proclaimed, I always say are pretty shitty. But, dude, I was like Bare Naked Ladies and Creed and all that shit that you probably don't like, people don't admit to liking. I liked it all. So,
funny. Yeah, man, I'm glad to be back, though.
Yes.
Here to talk about some AEW.
I am very happy to have both of you on. This is Murray's first time on the show. You excited, Murray?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, I am glad. We are glad to have you on. Tiffany and Amy, of course, Amy has become a at-home teacher because of the coronavirus. And Tiffany, basically, she didn't have a quiet place to record because, everybody's at home. I reached out last night, got the team on, and they are filling in. That's why the Social Suplex is such a tight family. But I'm gonna quit rambling and work on getting straight to the stuff. This week, AEW got to do their version of the empty crowd show. Now, they did have an advantage. They saw the wrong way to do it 2 nights in a row. Or, Friday and Monday, they saw the wrong way to do it. So, they could come in hot with ways to correct it. So, my first question before we get into the show, I'm going to start with Rich, then we're going to go to Murray. Should they have done the show?
From a health standpoint, probably not, right? But unfortunately, TNT gave out a whole bunch of money, you see, and rain or shine, pretty much, they expected some type of show to happen. And AEW decided to, do some matches and, pretty much do their normal show. And they cut down on, the people that were going to be there. Tony Khan, one that, didn't feel comfortable showing up. They don't have to, but, at the end of the day, they signed a contract and they had to deliver a show either way. So it was either, do some clip shows or anything like that, or just say, fuck it. And, we're coming out here, and just going forward with it and, living with whatever the consequences are. And it felt like they were doing a show that was like, we don't know if there's going to be another show for a while. So we'll just, put whatever out there now. And the show ended up really good. And I don't know if you remember, Floyd, when I was kind of messaging you about it before the show, I was like, well, the cool thing is Tony and company get to watch 2 shows. And when you think about AEW, even if they didn't go the wrestling route, this was a promotion that essentially came to prominence on the back of a show that had no wrestling on it. So I was like, if anyone's equipped to do this, it's these guys. And I think they smoked it on Wednesday.
All right. You know what? I tend to agree, but I'll get to my point in a second. Murray, should the show happen?
As Rich said, in terms of health standpoints, probably not. But yeah, like if NXT are going to go ahead and do a show, then I guess it only makes sense that they have to do a show in a way to, keep. But yeah, TNT wanted the show, so they gave them a show, really.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize. 50, whatever their amount of live TV shows they have, live is actually there. The shows are supposed to be live. And, if the governor doesn't say, hey, this can't happen, TNT is expecting content. So, in my opinion, whether it should happen, I'm going to say yes, and I'm not trying to be different. I'm not trying to be like the AEW homer. It's just because I am absolutely an AEW homer and shill. I have no problem admitting that. But when it comes down to it, it's just these are grown-ass people with jobs, and they know that there's travel, and they know they have to, they know they get to make the decision. And if they say, hey, we're coming to work, record the show. I could just see too many comments about people thinking that it's your job's responsibility to take the choice out of your hand. And I don't believe that. It would be like your job saying, hey, we're banning smoking. You can't even smoke at home, or you can't eat bacon or fatty food. There's so many more things that we do every day that is going to kill it. It has a lot more chance and likelihood of killing us than Corona that your boss doesn't say shit about. So why should they say shit about this?
Yeah, and I think it's there's a lot of, of course we all saw what Ryan Satin was talking about, and, they're a part of it where, was he right about what he said? Yeah, probably, but we know where that's coming from. And then, he tried to cover his tracks a couple of days later, but I think it's just a really complicated situation that no one really has the answers to. And it's like, well, what are we going to do for our business? And it was like, we're going to run a show and we're going to try to make people happy and they decide to do like what I would call like a step away from a blowaway show.
Yeah, it was the great thing about the show is the one thing I was calling out the other company for is just put on the same show you were going to do, just with no people, you know? And that was my big thing. It's just like, go out there, have matches, cut promos, acknowledge what's going on, and just put on the same show. And it's just, I think the difference between AEW and anyone else is that they have, because they're not setting their ways, there is no standard AEW show, they're willing to try new things. They're willing to take chances. So, hey, sometimes, you know, they take a chance, Nightmare Collective, and it's shitty. But sometimes you take a chance and it's a home run, like this whole Hangman thing. And this Empty Night Arena, a lot of people have liked it. So that's you know, all good. So I don't know. I don't know where it is. I know some people, like I said, Ryan Satin being one, seem to have a problem with it. And all I could say is, you know, I mean, I want to say it. I know I'm positive all the time, but kind of quit being a bitch, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
it almost comes off like concern trolling,
yes.
You know, for me. But it's like, it was real. Like, it's just the timing is real suspect as you see all the positive reviews going on and all the, you know, the excitement over Brody Lee and Matt Hardy and, you know, the show overall pretty much, like, and then throwing that out there at the same time. The timing was just really bad.
Yeah, if you didn't enjoy the show, just say you didn't enjoy the show. But whether a company should be running the show or not running the show, that's not really your concern. The show happened. Decide if you liked it or not. Don't be bitter because the people signing your check didn't put on the show. They just didn't. They put on video packages.
And it felt like, and I don't want to step all over Murray here, but it just felt like with the wrestling, like like they did matches that were kind of worth a damn, so they were immediately undoing what seemed like, oh, this will never work. Like all those, you know, the Raw and the SmackDown. And I didn't think SmackDown was that bad. It just like became uninteresting in a while just because they didn't do things to make it interesting. And then you look at Dynamite and it was like, well, we got MJF out here gambling with Tony Schiavone and Shawn Spears. You got the babyface and the heels crowding around the ring. You got Brandy ring announcing, and we all know how she feels about that now. But she puts on the smile and does it just because she's awesome. And, you know, I thought they brought so many like elements of like making the best out of the situation to make it kind of feel like its own like one of a kind show. And I felt like they were just doing the show for us. Yes. Like it down to the way the camera was pointed.
Yes, I want to send a shout out to the 542,000 fans that watched NXT on Wednesday, which was basically a clip show that you could just go on the network and, you know, watch. I'm just saying that's some fucking dedication there. I'm being real.
Sometimes I wonder if they'll just stare at the NXT logo for 2 hours. But
I wonder if like 200,000 is the old people that just put it on USA all day and never turn the channel. You know what I'm talking about. Just NCIS, SVU, you know, Modern Family. Oh, there's some men in tights on, whatever. Just keep it on the same channel.
I ended up watching that show today, and it was very interesting, though. I won't completely crap on it. I watched the Gargano and Ciampa part, and, you know, I came off thinking both of these people were, like, terrible people, and, you know, there is no good guy here. But it was really interesting, and, you know, I think that any long feud should get its own like little mini movie like that.
Yeah, and you know, and that is awesome. I actually watched it later that night because I'm at work. I don't have anything else to do. So I watched it and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have watched this. You know, they announced that no matches, but I'm just like, if I was at home and I wasn't working and I could do what I really wanted, I wouldn't have watched that. I mean, it's great. It was a great VTR. And if they would have said, hey, this is a network special, Gargano versus Ciampa, and it basically been that, I would have been fine with it. It's just, I felt like you could have did something. You could have put on 3 or 4, 2 or 3 squash matches, you know what I mean? And just did something in the ring. I don't know. Wrestling, I grew up on a lot of, that Tuesday Night Titans, which was in the studio, and then them showing basically matches from house shows. And I was just like, and I grew up on that. But I've been trained that that's not really wrestling anymore. And,
right.
And I kind of feel like that's what WrestleMania is going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the other day I saw Scott Dawson send out a YouTube video of something he uploaded from his private collection. It was a Revival versus American Alpha house show match that no one's ever seen. I'm like, if you're talking about like Tuesday Night Titans and that, how about I know they film all those house shows. Throw some of those like just special matches that you have out. Be like, yeah, we're gonna have, we're gonna show this and this, and they've been touring for years, and they've got all the footage in the world. So I don't know. It's strange because they do that and they canceled the thing. But anyway, it's not an NXT show. But I guess I'll talk about that on One Nation Radio tomorrow.
But yeah, if they would have the first thing they did is kind of show that match from the Cruiserweight Classic, then show DIY versus the Revival. And then just be like, really make it all about them, and still show the matches that you wanted to see. It was just like I said, the VTR kind of idea of it was alright, but whatever. Again, not an NXT show. You said it right. Let's go AEW. Show starts with Cody in the middle of the ring, on his Triple H game, trying to avoid saying coronavirus as hard as they can. I don't know why. Do you either one of you understand why they do that?
I guess the reason why is that they don't, like, people have heard about it so many times, they're sick of hearing the words. So I'm guessing that's why it was just to sort of like, forget about it. You're watching wrestling. You're here for wrestling. You're not here for any other reason.
Yeah, it was a great rallying cry. The whole try to get you a couple hours to forget what's going on. Excuse me. A couple hours to forget what's going on. And I think Cody did a good job, but there was this weird transition between, hey, welcome to our empty arena, to going into the storyline stuff. I just thought was I thought it was kind of awkward. I don't know how to do it better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you how to do it better, but it just seemed really awkward. Did it come off that way to you?
I don't know. It was I whenever I see Cody in a situation like that, I'm like, oh shit, here comes Speech Man, and think he's going to say something to fire us all up. And then it's like, I think he did as good of a job as he could. Telling us, the light of the situation there, and then blending it. Like, I don't know how you can really do it better than that, but I think some of the stuff that he talked about in there were things that the audience really doesn't know unless you're like really inside. But they do that from time to time because the whole thing with Kenny and Cody, that hasn't been hinted at all in AEW. Even though that's kind of always this underlying thing that everybody knows about. And then Matt Jackson, like his importance, and like, what do you mean? This is a guy that he's losing all the time. The Young Bucks always burying themselves, and he's taking the falls. And then he's the second most important man in the company. I don't know. It was like something where it was for those that knew. And if you didn't, I feel like you might have just been like, huh, okay.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, that makes sense. I see what you. Definitely see what you're saying there. It's just like, it was one of those things. It was like, I thought it was a good speech. Don't get me wrong. It was just that transition, that in that little area where he went from real life to kind of real life to completely wrestling gimmick was just weird there. I don't know. Me. That's about that was basically like me cussing at Cody. I don't. That's about the closest to criticism you get from me. So we get into the ring. Kenny says, Cody says he needs the best bout machine, and in short, I need the elite to be elite. They got Hangman out there, and he gives them the tip of the, I think it's whiskey. He switched from beer to whiskey. So and then walked away. And again, Hangman, a person I questioned whether they were going to be able to get over, is the most over person on the planet right now, which is crazy. Let's see. They decided they're going to stand together, and then Kenny does the intro and says, "Let's start Dynamite," and we get the big pyro explosion and lights and all that stuff. Like, hey, that was the prologue. It's time for the show to start. Any thoughts going into that first segment from you, Murray?
Yeah, just overall good way to. Trying to think of what to say. Yeah, it was a good way to start the show. Get basically hype up what was essentially what was going to be the main event of Dynamite, and yeah, just a good start, I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's no problem. We got the first match. We got the Lucha Bros, my boys Penta and Ray Phoenix. I actually watched a really good match today. Pentagon and I'm just going to throw it out there. Pentagon and Chris Hero. It was from AAW from 2015. I guess it was Pentagon's debut, and that match was really entertaining. If, with all this free time, if y'all want to go ahead and watch that match, it was pretty fun. You can let me know what I think. Let me know what you think if you haven't seen it. Like I said, I wasn't into really indie wrestling back then. So when people give me indie wrestling matches to go watch from that era, I definitely, I always go watch them, because I didn't even know who Pentagon or Chris Hero I knew, but I didn't know. I didn't know how good he was. All right, so we get MJF, and they did something different. And they had the wrestlers, the heels and the faces. The heels were on stage right, and the faces were on stage left. MJF said the winner's purse wasn't big enough for him to perform. He's going to let the undercard guys get their TV shine. I will start again with Murray. What did you think with the wrestlers being on the outside of the ring?
I think it's definitely it was something different compared to what WWE did with having just no one. They at least had some guys available to just pretend to be the crowd. I think that definitely gave it something different, and at least some amount of atmosphere in the matches.
And Rich, what'd you think?
I think it saved the show. It's the key thing that made it good. Because even those small reactions and those things that would be yelled out the crowd is just oh shit, and that you have to pay attention to all that stuff really happening. And it was just that small tweak that was the difference here. And if those guys weren't sitting at the crowd, it could have got real boring, and sometimes it threatened to anyway. I was not really a fan of this first match. I was yeah, let's wrap it up and get back to the promos, because I knew that there would be some type of promos on this show and some type of video pieces, and we did get those in spades.
Yeah, I was looking at, and apologize for having to bring them up, but it's literally the only thing we have to compare it to. I'm looking at SmackDown. I watched SmackDown the whole 2 hours last week, and you literally see people in the back lifting weights. In the background lifting weights. And I'm you got 150 people in your performance center. You couldn't have threw 20 outside in the seats to make a little noise during the match to give a little ambiance. That was my actual critique on Friday. So it was I wasn't even on a show or anything, and then you see AEW kind of address that. It's just nobody being out there just makes it look weird. And so I love that they addressed it that way. I love that they did it old school with the heels on one side and the faces on the other. Like I said, it's just, and then you had MJF, who I felt like was the MVP of the crowd because he was yelling stuff all night. He was like he was into the matches, and then the whole gambling gimmick with him and Shawn Spears, that actually added to the match, because he was like, yelling like he wanted to win and win the money. So I thought that was pretty cool. This match, we had JR. I think they've told him to just embrace Grumpy JR. I think they've just embraced it. Grumpy old man JR. Have you noticed that, Rich?
Yeah, I think at times, like, he clearly has his people that he has relationships with, and he won't, like, try to bury, like, Hangman or Cody or Kenny or Jericho. And then there's other times where he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just here. I don't know. I think he should just stick with the main event stuff and then rotate Taz out and, for all the undercard stuff. And, I don't know. Ross is hit or miss for me. I tune him out most times.
Yeah, like I said, to me, it's like he's playing a gimmick, and it might not be. It might him being that angry. But like when Orange Cassidy was asleep, he seemed generally pissed off that Orange Cassidy was asleep. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Murray, what do you think of Grumpy JR?
See, it's a weird thing with me. Like, I understand the gimmick. Like, I do like JR. He was one of the best, but I just always feel like not all the time. With most matches, I just feel he sounds uninterested. I don't know if that's just me. Like, I enjoy him when he's doing, like, these sort of like interview segments. I really think he's good at that. But I think in terms of commentary, he doesn't work for me.
Okay, I could see that. Like I said, I could see it because this JR is completely different from the JR of the Attitude Era, who almost was like a fanboy of the WWE, and he enhanced every segment that he was in. I don't feel like he does that anymore, but I do feel like he's almost like comic relief because, he's so angry all the time, and it's like, you got Excalibur's like, no, and trying to explain these things to this grumpy old guy. So he's a character on his own. Outside of the ring was Lance Archer, Jake Snake Roberts, Wardlow, MJF, Tully Blanchard, and Shawn Spears. On the other side was Colt Cabana, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Joey Janela, and Sonny Kiss. So they had the money riding on the match. Orange Cassidy got involved during the match, and they actually distracted the referee this time before Orange Cassidy did his fall on top of the Lucha Bros. But in the end, the Lucha Bros get the win on the Best Friends. Rich, kind of heard what you thought about the match. Murray, what did you think about this first match?
I thought it was a decent opener to the show in my view. It's like it was a lot of loud strikes. It was a lot of loud strikes, lots of banter happening in the ring, in and out the ring. In the ring, the distractions helped, and it was a good match. I do feel like the Lucha Bros and Best Friends, they've wrestled each other quite a lot recently. I'm not sure if, especially just singles and tags, so it's not like it's hard to get fully invested, but it was still, overall, still a decent enough match.
We didn't get our Rainmaker hug, and when they went to go for the hug to give the people what they want, they touched elbows, which is hilarious, because, then you tried to, pile drive someone. I'm like, just saying, that seems like a lot more touching than a hug, but whatever. Rich, did you have any more thoughts on this match?
It was just okay, like Murray said. It seemed like it was going on a little long. But it is what it is. Like it was there to get Death Triangle some more momentum.
It did not live up to the standards to the AEW opening tag team match that I have set before. I thought it was a good match, but it was not a great match. With the Best Friends, they have their things that they do. The Lucha Bros, they can play the Lucha Bros can play in any area. In this case, they wrestled to the level of their competition. Gave a solid 3-star match, you know what I mean? And after the match, there was an interview with Tony Schiavone and the Best Friends, and Chucky T said, "You kicked my partner in the dick." Next Dynamite, they actually let Dick go through, which was hilarious. Next Dynamite, we want to meet you in the streets, not in a street fight. And they said, not a street fight. We want to meet you out actually in the streets. So they said next Dynamite, which they were sure to use because they're not altogether sure if they can record next week. But they are going to meet in the streets, a.k.a. the parking lot. So it'll be the Best Friends versus the Lucha Bros. I can't say it's going to be a 6-man. It has to be a tag because I believe Pac can't travel here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he's located, but I'm looking forward to the parking lot brawl.
But the UK is the exception, right? On the ban.
I think they closed those guys out too.
Okay, yeah. Well, when you got con money, you can make things happen that other people can't.
Tony got the jet. So.
Yeah, Tony, he's like, yeah, you can't fly commercial. I don't even fly, I guess. Like I said, they got the con money. It's as y'all say, con money is long. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then we get a fatal 4-way match. We get Hikaru Shida, ranked number 1, versus Rio, ranked number 2 somehow, even though she lost to Penelope Ford on Dark. Now, you're so irrelevant that even when you beat someone, they just keep their same spot? Is that how it works? Or I don't know.
I don't know, man. Because I think you have to work your way into the top 5. So this may have gotten her to number 6 or something. So
I mean, like Rio's like a Duke losing to Stephen F. Austin, to Penelope Ford. How she's been booked. Penelope Ford, in every match she's been in, she takes the L. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, she still got a long way to go.
She got a long way to go. The third contender was Chris Statlander, ranked number 3, and then the unranked Penelope Ford, accompanied by Kip Sabian. Now I got a question. When they announced Kip Sabian to AEW, did you think his career path was valet?
Hey, it might be the best thing for him.
It might be, yeah. Because I remember he came in, had the match at Double or Nothing, the pre-show match with Sammy G. A lot of people thought that match was very boring, and then he took Hangman to almost a time limit draw, and everybody's like, "Why is Hangman going to a time limit draw?" So Kip Sabian had people kind of had a bad taste in their mouth for him. So this is a completely different than how they were presenting him at first. So
it was both for the women.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets his ass kicked by women all the time, which, hey, that check. As long as you're getting a check, I guess. So we get the Fatal 4-Way. How did it end? Okay, so Shida used a Falcon Arrow on Penelope Ford for a 2 count. Shida followed up with a running knee to gain the victory. We saw a lot of beef between Rio and Penelope Ford. Do you think they're going to delve more into this going forward, Murray?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is just some... assuming there's going to be more episodes of Dynamite, I think this is going to be mainly just a TV feud to give Riho something to do before I'll assume she'll end up getting a rematch at some point with Nyla, and then it's fine enough, I guess.
So what'd you say?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think they're kind of like done pushing Riho for a second, and what they're trying to do is like get Penelope in there with someone with more experience like Riho. So I don't think it's close to finish, but you know, I don't have a problem with what they're doing with her, like, or with Riho. It's like, I mean, there's jobs to be done. Like, everyone in this company can lose. You know, there's no one that's too good to do a job for somebody. So that's what, and it's just like we know what it is with the women's division. Like, you need to get wrestlers in there with wrestlers with more experience, and this is just an example of that. Anyone like mad about this? I don't know what to tell you.
And Rio is the plucky underdog, and the great thing about the plucky underdog is that you can heat them up anytime you want to. You know what I mean? It's just like, and like you lose, and then you just start winning. It's not. That's the great thing about her. She's very much in the Rey Mysterio type role. I think that's why JR does the thing where he says how much he weighs every match. And I know some people absolutely hate that, but I think it's to drive home the fact that she's not supposed to win.
Yeah, and I thought the match was pretty good. Aside from the, Penelope had that one rough spot with Statlander, but besides, I think she made up for it with that Poison Rana off the second rope, and I thought it was like pretty well worked, like, from everyone. So I don't know, man. The AEW women's division, like, slander, it doesn't land for me at times, because I just look at the talent of everyone involved, and I'm like, I mean, could they be getting pushed in a different way? Or I'm like, sure they could, but the company's establishing kind of what they want to do with them, and you can't say they're not talented anymore. Like, Shida, Rio, Statlander, and Penelope's like developing, and we all know she's a great athlete. So
yeah, the first time I saw her like in a match was at NWA 70. And I thought there was a foundation there. And to me, she has gotten better every time I've seen her. And that's really all you can ask for. She wasn't like, when, you were thinking, hey, who do you want AEW to sign? I bet she wasn't in anybody's like top 5 list, but she has a lot of potential to be great there. And she has a look. You can't deny that she has a look.
At all. It has the look.
Yes, as I say, like you just can't, you cannot deny that part of it. What did you think of the rest of the match, Murray?
The match was a very enjoyable match. It was an enjoyable match for the time it was given. I think it only went 5-6 minutes. It was quite short in my opinion. I felt it could have went a bit longer, but for what we got, it was a good match. Fun outing overall.
Yeah, I thought the shortness of the match added to it because it was very high paced. It's what I'm used to from when I talk about a traditional Dynamite tag team match to begin. It was like really just quick and fast paced, and then you got the winner. I love those, like the moment where Rio and Penelope, they suplexed someone at the same time, and then they immediately like got in each other's face. And of course, Cheetah looks like she's the next person that they're pushing. So I did love that Falcon Arrow and then the running knee to get the victory. It was good. It was good.
Nice clean win.
Nice clean win. It was pretty definitive. Tony Schiavone interviewed, honestly, if I had to say my favorite thing from the night, it was this. Tony Schiavone interviewed Colt Cabana from the ringside, having to watch him in his match. Colt said that, Penelope Ford would be better without her scheming boyfriend. Saban is like, goes up to him like, you want to take a row with me? And he pushes him, and then, Colt gives him the get out of here, and then he pushes him again, and then he like just straight pie faces him. And he says, he's like, I act like a nice guy, but I am a wrestler.
Bro, they made him look like such a hoe.
Yes.
It was like, you had to get dragon suplexed by Rio, and then you just got completely sunned by Colt Cabana. Like, Colt treated him like, he's probably old enough to be, his, like, at the very least, a very older sibling to, Kip. I think he's at least 15, 16 years older than him. So he could be his dad, in the wrong scenario here. And yeah, it was just funny.
All right, yeah. So if the point was to make him look like the sniveling boyfriend, that the scheming, untrustworthy boyfriend, that was perfect. They did a great job there because he looked like just like a coward. He looked like a coward right then, and I thought that was perfect. And I just thought it made Colt Cabana look like a badass, which is not really the character he's played in other companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really know that much about Colt Cabana as far as like on the wrestling side, but he's always been someone that has been, I know, to be very versatile, and I've listened to his podcast for a number of years, and I think he's going to be a solid addition, and everything I've ever seen from him wrestling wise, it's like he's going to be an awesome gatekeeper babyface for someone to get some heat on eventually.
Yeah, and he's the veteran that you can put a young guy like with Kip Sabian with, and you know what? He's going to make him perform. He's going to make him look good, and he's going to make him step up his game when he needs to. Yeah, so that was that segment. Then we got another. We get into the match with. I'm just making sure we're not skipping a part, because where did the? I thought I had this in order, but I feel like I'm missing a part where Jake and the Jake and Lance Archer, was that right before the Jurassic Express or right after? Do you remember?
I think it was right after, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy versus the Butcher and the Blade. This week I have managed to call them the Jurassic Express, not the Lucha Express, which I don't know. I think someone on another show calls them the Lucha Express sometimes, and it has thrown me off.
I think it's Brian Alvarez.
Yes, he always calls them the Lucha Express. Like, that's like one of my essential weekly listenings is after the NXT and AEW, I always try to listen to Meltzer and Alvarez, who, so it was just like, he always calls them that, and he got me calling them that. And I actually think I like the Lucha Express better. But, so we get Jungle Boy and the Butcher and the Blade. MJF is like he has money. He pulls Butcher and Blade over, tells them what he wants to do done. He got money on this match. He needs them to win. And, yeah, so they stuck with the traditional. Jungle Boy was underneath most of the match. And then they did the hot tag to Luchasaurus, who JR does not seem to like his mask and thinks his mask needs to change. Which, like I said, Grumpy JR, he was on a roll. I think he had something bad to say about someone in like every match. It was amazing. And so what is it? Luchasaurus did his thing, did his hot tag thing. And, he's super athletic, and the Butcher and the Blade are a tag team. They are very much a tag team. But in the end, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy hit their combination cutter to get the win. It was after MJF, they hit Butcher and Blade hit a big move. MJF said, "Full death right now," which is their finisher. And that's when Jurassic Express reversed out of it and then hit their finisher for the win. And MJF was pissed. Now, Murray, I'm gonna let you start. What did you think about this match?
It was a very it was a solid match overall. Jungle Boy seems to he's the one that gets beat down a lot. Luchasaurus comes in and does the hot tag, and MJF, of course, was hilarious as always on the outside, just in the crowd, just shouting. It was an enjoyable match, to say the least.
Rich?
I thought it was a solid tag team match, kind of a step up from the opener with the Lucha Bros and Best Friends. I don't know what it is, but I like the Butcher every time I see him. He's just got such a unique look. He's a throwback. He's tough and rough and big and ugly and scary and mean, and I just really enjoy his what he brings to the table. And it's all every week I'm kind of looking for a little bit more from Luchasaurus to see if he's back to where he was before the injury. I feel like I'm still not seeing it yet, but I think with more consistent work he'll get there. And Jungle Boy looks great every week. Really excited about where that's going with Jungle Boy, and very excited to see kind of what's going to happen with MJF, because they push it hard on commentary that he cost them the match. And of course, he spent some money on that match, and I'm sure that it's going to come back around at some point.
Yeah, Butcher, to me, this was like a traditional Southern tag team wrestling match kind of thing, except the caveat of MJF screaming for the finisher and costing, his henchmen the match. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't know if they're going to use it to separate MJF and the Butcher and the Blade, where they're doing their own thing separate from MJF, or what they're going to do there. But I am looking forward to it. I just think I got to sound like an old man here. I am old man. I'm almost 40, so I grew up in a different time. For me to take Jungle Boy serious as a main event contender, and it's only kind of like his work rate and stuff like that, I'm going to need him to gain some weight. I know he's against it. I know, and I know he doesn't know why he needs to, but like Darby, he wrestles in a way that he throws his body at you. It's like, it's very much believable. He's a very slight dude, but it's kind of believable because he wrestles full speed, his whole body coming at you. Jungle Boy is more of a traditional type wrestler, and I need you to be a little bit bigger for me to buy that you're hurting people. I don't know. Like I said, I'm old, so just...
He's only 22, so I don't know if he's grown into his man body yet. And then you look at kind of what guys start to look like, from ages like 27 to 35 in wrestling. Like, they just get bigger over time. And I think he'll have that natural, if he can maintain his ability to be cut and shredded as he is, and then at the same time just kind of naturally grow into, the heavyweight kind of thing. I think, oddly, like a good person for him to look to and consult with would be Kenny. Because, like, you look at Kenny's frame. I remember the first time I saw him in person, I was like, yo, he's so much bigger than, like, I've felt like I saw him be on TV. And Jungle Boy, I would imagine, is of similar height. I think at some point, someone's just got to get him on the cycle. And I don't mean, like, steroids. I mean, like, meals and, like, get that man on a meal plan, essentially, and he'll be fine.
I'll just say, do what it takes. Wrestling's a cosmetic business.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just saying, do what it takes. I don't need to know how you got that big. That ain't my business. That's not my business.
Trying to have his man out here with these what is it called, the TH levels or some levels overflowing.
I am not suggesting he do anything. All I'm saying is I'm not gonna ask how. You come out 30 pounds bigger in 2 months, I'm not gonna ask how it happened. I'm just gonna be like, man, that was a good decision. So outside of the ring, like we had Shivani interviewing the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, who Jake says he's not here to talk. We let Cody know we were coming, and he's chosen to ignore us. We're gonna basically do something he can't ignore because he's a Hall of Famer and he deserves more respect than that. And I thought this was solid promo that could have been pre-recorded, and the 65-year-old man could have stayed home. That was just a thought. Someone brought it up, and I was like, yeah, it really could have been. But I thought it was another solid promo for Jake. What did y'all think, Rich?
This one didn't hit me the same way that the first one did. I think he was like kind of stammering and repeating himself, and I don't think he really had anything really necessarily interesting to say this time. So I just think they just got to make sure they tell Jake, hey, this is what we're looking for. We just need you to get there.
Yeah, if you have to write it yourself, great. You have to write it yourself, great. But yeah, I know the exact points that you made. That's what I noticed from him. But I think it did escalate the conversation. Murray, what did you think about Jake's promo?
Yeah, it was a solid promo. Jake, it's so amazing to see that he's just as good as he was just about as good as he was in his prime. Like, he's such a good talker, and I think even though it probably wasn't as good as the last one he did, it's still, he brings something to the table that's different.
Yeah, he's a 65-year-old man, but when he talks, I think he could kick my ass like up and down the street. It's just he has that believability about him. He's like the guy in the bar that just sits in the corner and he doesn't talk a lot, but when he talks, you believe everything he says. And that's what I think Jake brings to him, is the believability. I love him working with Lance Archer because I love Lance Archer, but being combined with Jake just gives him this badass mystique. And then they added to it with the video package. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Peanut Butter Falcon. I don't either know. Did either one of you ever see this movie?
Never saw it.
All right. No. So it's Shia LaBeouf. And I didn't know what the movie was about. And then I go into the movie and I found out that a theme of the movie is professional wrestling. And so there's this certain segment where this kid's getting trained to be a professional wrestler, and they're out in what would look like this forest that they had for this promo, and it looked like it was the exact same set from the Peanut Butter Falcon. Just a ring out in the middle of nowhere, and, Lance Archer's the badass, and he's just like, I can take anybody out. Very much Carney, and it's the ringmaster is Jake over there in his chair, in his throne, watching his prize fighter just go out there and destroy everybody. And it was like when the big black dude got in, I was like, oh man, yeah. I was like, they would have found a big one. And he gets in there and Lance just destroys him. And I just like, it's like, it was cheesy, but it made Lance Archer look like such a badass.
I felt like this had the effect of like 3 weeks of squash matches.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did,
And it was funny because I was like, man, that looks like Georgia. That looks like where Darby Allin hangs out. I come to find out they were actually at Darby Allin's house or wherever he films his shit. They were using that property or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And I know, I can't wait for Darby Allin versus Lance Archer whenever it happens. It's going to be fucking great.
God.
Oh, my God.
I fear Lance Archer's going to pounce Darby Allin literally out of the ring. Because I know Darby will totally do that bump because he's fucking mental.
Yes. What did you think of this vignette, sir?
It was a good vignette. Ever since I saw him saw that G1 performance, I've been huge on Lance Archer. I just absolutely love him, and I think I feel this works much better than just 3 squash matches. Of course, I reckon they probably will eventually give him a squash match. Not sure against who, but I can't wait to see him make his debut. He's gonna be fucking brilliant.
Man, I don't know if Lance Archer would agree, but it seems like the best thing in his life was Davey Boy Smith not being able to agree to terms with New Japan. Because
hey, you might have a point.
Yeah, because it's like they would probably still be in that tag team, and they would probably still win the titles like once or twice a year, then lose them. But his career has completely elevated since Davey Boy went his way and he went his own way, and it's just like, that's kind of crazy.
And it makes me feel like an absolute idiot originally thinking, Davey Boy's clearly the better wrestler, but it was Archer. All of a sudden, he gets a chance in the G1. he basically took Suzuki's spot. And I was thinking, why is he doing that? Then he had that match with Ospreay, and it was like, okay, never mind. Archer's better. It was clear Archer was the man of that team, and yeah, it's like Archer's just a star now.
Yeah, he was such a big pickup. He actually had a bidding war, to sign him, and it was just like, if I asked you a year and a half ago, Lance Archer's contract's coming up, there's going to be a bidding war, you probably thought I was full of shit, right? I mean,
yeah, and it's just like that. You add him, and then you start thinking about all the other guys that are circling the wagons, and slowly, there's a lot of big guys here in AEW.
Yeah,
that can all work.
Yes, and that is something I thought they needed from the beginning of Dynamite, the beginning of the show. I was like, they need size. They need big guys that can work, and they have addressed that and then some, because, we all believe Brian Cage was, supposed to be here by now, and it's just like, with what they have now, they've definitely added size to the show. All right, so we get the Dark Order. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson walk down the ring to reveal the identity of the Exalted One. Evil Uno starts talking, and he starts saying the Exalted One is near. Christopher Daniels interrupts. He says, you're full of shit. There ain't no Exalted One. This was all set to get you and Stu Grayson over. You have helped no one. Then the music hits, and you see the screen. And then if you're watching really closely, you see a guy walk out in a white suit and white jacket. And then through the video, it reveals that Christopher Daniels is going to have to pay. He's not the first old guy to doubt him. And he takes off the hood, and it is Brody Lee. You then get back to the ring, and standing behind Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian is Brody Lee and the Dark Order. They attack him. He hits this stiff-ass clothesline on Christopher Daniels, and they take the ring, and the Exalted One is Brody Lee. Murray, I got to find out, what did you think of the revelation, sir?
It was a great reveal overall, and I think it's definitely the most interesting choice they went with here, with having Brody Lee be the Exalted One. I had my thoughts about him being it, but I don't know much about Brody Lee outside of his time as La Carpa. I wasn't knowing if he was, if he would be like a good enough promo to be the Exalted One. But I enjoyed the promo he had, and I think he's a strong addition to the AEW roster.
He fits the profile of exactly what AEW can use, in their attempt to, grow as a company. It's like, you got a guy with name recognition with, that can work, that's good, that's hungry, that's motivated, that's got a little bit of FU in him, and he wants to show, that he was done wrong. And I think a lot of people are going to be very welcoming to him. And as far as him being with the Dark Order has been much maligned from day one, and they committed to it by tweaking it on the fly and like, we're going to shoot these vignettes and tell you a little bit more about them, and we're going to basically turn this like this big business Scientology cult and everything like that. And then with him being, revealed as the Exalted One, while it might not have been designed for him to be the Exalted One, it makes all the sense in the world. You go from cult member to cult leader. You kind of got a little bit of experience doing this, and it instantly makes the Dark Order like a trios unit. If you want to put Brody Lee and Grayson and Uno together, you got two people that can talk in the group. With Uno and Lee now, and he gets to talk like he didn't do before. I don't think this, compared to what he was doing before, this is a way big step up. I loved his jacket, did not love his gear, but that can all be worked out.
That can all be worked out. As you know, Tony's listening to your podcast. Tony Khan will get in your mentions and let you know. So, it's one of those things. I say this all the time. Sometimes the expected thing is the right move. You could have went for the biggest shock factor and made it somebody like Matt Hardy or somebody that you weren't, might not be around that long. But you went with someone you're trying to establish as a new star in your division. It's perfect. He's been controlling the Dark Order since the beginning, even when he was with another company. This is great. He's a big guy. All I've heard about is how good of a worker he is. I've seen a few WWE matches where that worker came out, and it's just like, it's going to be useful. I think he's going to be a great addition to the roster. I heard people say, another former WWE guy, and I have this to say about this. Rich, you do music, correct? You produce. I don't do music, right?
Yep.
So you could just put me right in front of your tools, right, and say make a song. And nothing's gonna come out, right?
Maybe not.
Yes, because you got great tools and everything. But if you don't have someone that knows how to use said tools, you're not gonna get the desired result, right?
Right.
So
and it's like if these people loved the atmosphere they were in so much, they would stay.
They would stay. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it is, and we don't know where Luke Harper is, but I'm saying Luke Harper is, as a wrestler, he's a tool, and if you have someone that doesn't know how to use said tool, you're not going to get the desired results. So you go somewhere else to someone who is better at it, maybe. You may better find better use of you. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the WWE failed or anything. I'm just saying it might not been the right equipment for what they were trying to get across. They might not have the skill set to do with what this person needs to be done. As you can see with Jake Hager. I think Jake Hager, in his few appearances and actual physicality in AEW, looks way more like a badass than he ever did in the WWE.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, these are wrestlers that it's like companies don't own wrestlers.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there was one company that was big for so long. Like, people don't have a grasp of this. Like, I was kind of on the younger end. Like, Murray is a little bit younger than I am, but Floyd, you remember in the 90s, it was like guys were going back. Like, it was like, yo, now Lex Luger's over here. Now, fucking Eddie Guerrero's over here. Jericho's over here. The Big Show's over here now. Six is over here. Now X-Pac's over here. It's like the companies it really doesn't matter. It's like, it's just something I think for people to try to point at AEW and tell them they're being TNA, because we all know TNA was unsuccessful and, never really a serious threat to the marketplace, or, pretty much a joke when you bring up TNA most of the time, right? Yeah. Aside from, a couple of times when they did good work. And I think people are so desperate to try to tie AEW into that in the face of overwhelming evidence they've been nothing but, a successful company so far. That's all I think it is.
Yeah, because Hulk Hogan's first wrestling match was with the WWF, right?
I didn't know, Floyd.
I mean, he didn't wrestle for 10 years and jobbed to Andre the Giant like 57,000 times before he signed with the WWF.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. The honky tonk man, he just showed up in the WWF and he's like, man, you kind of look like Elvis. He wasn't doing that gimmick for years before he got there.
and eventually, someone from AEW is going to go to WWE. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah. Like, eventually. Like, you can say it kind of already happened with Mercedes Martinez. Like, she showed up for the one show or a couple shows on AEW Dark, then she showed up in WWE. It's weird, like, how, this stuff gets thrown out. But, Ring of Honor was developing talent for the last decade for WWE. So it's one of those dumb things. Yeah.
You know, Macho Man's original gimmick with the WWF is that he was already a superstar and he was the hottest free agent available in professional wrestling.
Right.
That was them acknowledging that he was a star before he ever got to the WWF.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out some 80s references because that's, you know, AEW is kind of where Vince was in 81. You know, his dad had the WWF, but the WWF was his. And he was trying to make it go national. So it was basically like he was starting a new company. And when you start,
I got to get new people.
Yes, when you start a new good company, you have to get new people. And do you want a bunch of people that have never wrestled before? No, you want established people that draw people in. I'm sorry, WWE was the only product for like a lot of years. You know what I mean? But it's just as you said, it's a bad faith argument. You know what I mean? It's just not. Yeah, I mean that is the exact Rich quote right there. It's just there's nothing behind it, so it's hilarious to me that we keep hearing it. It's just it's so stupid. And
it is what it is. It won't be the last person to jump, and I hope more people. I hope more people jump. Like, especially with the second show that AEW is going to start doing. Whenever that happens, like, there's going to be spots available.
I tell you, if Hager's contract ends with AEW and WWE comes with that check, he is bouncing. He is gone. He is. You will see like a dust imprint of where Jake Hager was. He is out because that's what he's here to get paid. You know, that's what they're all here for. You know,
it's a business. You know?
It's a business. You know, hey, you know, as much as I am an AEW shield for free, if WWE came along with that check, that would be the best wrestling in the world.
Well, I'd be on here lying, and I'd be doing all the stuff y'all be hearing from people who shall not be named.
I would call my show Straight Capping because Vince wouldn't know what that meant.
straight capping with Floyd Johnson.
Yes, everything I say is lies. You all know it. Vince would let it go because he wouldn't know what it means. He'd be like, "Oh man, that sounds like a great name." But, no, then we get the main event. We get the Inner Circle, the Big Hurt Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz, accompanied by Sammy Guevara, versus the Elite, the American Nightmare Cody, accompanied by Arn Anderson, Matt Jackson, and Hangman or Handwash Adam Page as he is.
Yes, Handwash.
As he's been dubbed with Kenny Omega at his side, with the winning team getting the advantage of blood and guts. Another highlight of the show, Jericho's music plays, and we don't have the audience to sing along, but we got something a little better than the audience. We got the Spanish god Sammy Guevara, and he gets to this part in the song where he doesn't know the words, and I was like, that is half the crowd when I'm there. When they get to that part, they don't know what the words are, and you just hear, people are just singing blah 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 as loud as they can to the tone. But like 10 people know the words to that song. I do not, but it was hilarious because MJF was singing along. Jericho broke character and laughed. That was great. Then we got a match, and I don't know. I've seen it twice because I actually watched the show right back before I got on because I had forgotten a lot of it. It was a match. I didn't think it was particularly good. I don't know. It was kind of there to me. What did you think, Rich?
I agree. I think this was a match that was kind of just designed to get Inner Circle to win and then give you the spot of Hangman and Matt Jackson not being able to get on the same page to do the move because he's obviously not Nick Jackson. But I think, whenever they get together, like it'll be Hangman and Nick Jackson or Matt Jackson doing the spot that they were trying to do before. And, this wasn't a show for great work rate matches, and then Hager's in there, Cody's in there kind of playing off, just kind of filling a role. So I don't think they were trying to do a blowaway match.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to do a blowaway match, but it was the atmosphere that just kind of saved the whole thing for me.
What'd you think, Murray?
Yeah, again, it was an okay main event. It was nothing special, but it served its purpose. It's like of course, the whole Sammy Guevara singing as Jericho joined the commentators was probably the highlight, and it wasn't even really part of the match, but it was still a decent enough match.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I definitely it served its purpose, but it was just like when watching the match, I kept like, oh, is this almost over? And it's like that doesn't happen when Cody's in the ring with me. It was just kind of like it was just like you knew something else was going to happen. That's what I kept. I guess that's what I was like. I was waiting on the twist. I kept feeling like something else was going to happen. And they have just pushed so much how much the Inner Circle was an actual group compared to the Elite, who had kind of become all individuals. And I was like, there's no way the Inner Circle is losing this match. And then they get the roll up into victory. And then Jericho gets on and runs them down. And I was like, okay, something has to happen here. And again, we talk about being so into the Elite world. Sammy Guevara does the drone shots, right? He does a lot of the drone shots. So when the drone came out, I was like, I thought it was a Sammy thing. Really, my initial thought. I'm like, a lot of people that do a show about AEW wouldn't admit that. And everybody was like, I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't. I immediately drone thing. Then Matt got on the mic, and I was like, oh, that's Vanguard. But I was late. I have to admit, I was late. I was like, oh, that's Vanguard One.
When I saw Vanguard, I knew what it was, and I heard that music. And I was like, oh, my God, it's Vanguard One. And then, I've been open and saying, not really, like, crazy over Matt Hardy, like the wrestler at this point, but I think he's a very creative mind, and the last time this guy was left to his own devices, he was one of the hottest acts in the business. Do I want someone that can potentially be one of the hottest acts in the business in AEW? Yes, I do. Because it's and it's based on his creativity. It wasn't something that was handed to him, and it's like he can just import whatever he does there. I think it makes all the sense in the world. And it's just like a really cool moment, I think, and it was like kind of uplifting to see Matt Hardy for some weird reason. It was just like, damn, they're still doing dope shit. I could just imagine what the reaction would have been in the crowd
in Rochester for this. Yeah, it would have been big. Murray, what'd you think?
Yeah, this is a brilliant reveal. Like the whole. I enjoyed the after victory with Jericho and saying he banned all dipshit fans from all future AEW events. Like I'm pretty sure Sammy also tried to hit on Brandy at one point. It was just hilarious. And then as soon as the drone came down, I instantly knew it was gonna be broken Matt, and it was a definite strong reveal. Like Rich, I know Matt Hardy. Is he as good a wrestler as he was back then? Probably not. But I think what's going to be different from what we've seen of Matt Hardy in the later stages of WWE to now is that I think he'll be fully motivated, and assuming he's not he's sort of like on the Jericho sort of role where he's like not wrestling all the time. I think he could be he's a solid addition to the roster.
See, and that's the great thing about the Broken Matt character. The character is so cool and so crazy that he's not expected to put on a 5-star match. All his matches are character matches. Like, in my mind, the first match that popped up in my mind was Matt Hardy versus Jimmy Havoc at the Compound. Dude. That would be so fun. Just like, and that's all I can think is like with Matt Hardy. I don't think about world titles and shit. I just think about it. He makes wrestling fun. It's so over the top and so silly that you don't like. I don't want it in my world title picture at all. I want it as Rich and James would say. I want that shit far away from my world title picture. No, but as part of Dark. Opening segments, middle segments of the show to give it a breakup.
Vignettes.
Yeah, that is perfect.
Look, tying in people with him, like, it's just like, what happens the first time he comes across Private Party? Or something like that, and then calls them the Party of Private or something like that. Like, he's already doing it on Twitter. It's like, just importing this new character. And he has, like, his own world kind of built around him, in a sense, and then you can put people in there to kind of rub off of them and do what kind of older wrestlers is, what it's kind of designed to do, which is lift other guys up.
Yeah, so, but that was the show. They were very clear that on the next Dynamite, all this stuff was supposed to happen because they didn't know, just like what happened in Illinois recently, Illinois issued a stay-at-home order. So literally, unless you are considered essential employment like grocery stores, police officers, things like that, your ass is supposed to be in the house. So if they do that in Florida, AEW won't be allowed to tape. If they're following the same rules as other states are. So, wrestlers wouldn't be considered essential employees, so they would need to stay home. And most of the wrestlers don't even live in Florida. So, yeah, get the hell out of here. So, I want to ask, do you think they should have recorded more wrestling? Let's start with Murray.
I mean, assuming, that I would assume I will assume they have taped Dark.
Uh-huh.
I'm not assuming they taped Dark. Maybe they could have taped more, but it's really, I guess it probably would have made more sense to tape more stuff. That way you've got stuff in case, you can't do a live show, but...
So check this out. So I know they did multiple days of Dark as well as they did a matinee taping of something the day after Dynamite, which would have been Thursday.
Okay. Maybe they did the street fight then?
Maybe they did the street fight then. I'm sure. I know probably I think Dark is on that because I saw a wrestler named Shug Dunkerton. Had tweeted about wrestling on that, and he wrestled Kip Sabian for something, and I think Hager had a match as well. I think MJF had a match on Dark, so I think they did Dark that night, and maybe the next day, and who knows what they're shooting behind the scenes too.
Yeah, and that's the great thing is that they're a private company, so and there was no fans there, so they could have shot all. Whoa! I got a cough. Got the Meltzer cough, as some people say. Yeah, they could have shot all day. I mean, we don't really know. And but it was that was a big thing. Cody started on this community thing, and that was the first question I asked. Now, you didn't answer, of course, but first question I asked is, "Are you going to shoot shows?" Because it's if they decide to show up next week. I would have as much of the roster that is willing to show up next week, and I'd shoot 3 weeks of shows. That's how I see it. I don't know if that's right, wrong, but I would shoot 3 weeks of shows, and if I get to tape the next week, great. Maybe do some of the stuff live, but it's eventually. I just feel like we're headed to eventual most of the country being on lockdown, and it's just not a. It's not a if, it's a win kind of thing. And I think they should just be prepared for it. So I don't know. I've heard, different companies, the only other company that's shooting wrestling is trying to do that right now, trying to get as much in the can as they possibly can. And I just think, they don't make sense a lot of times, but that completely makes sense just to get as much wrestling out there. But coming out of this, before we talk about what was announced yesterday, the signings. Murray. So we got, over the last few weeks, we've got Lance Archer. We've got Brody Lee. We got Matt Hardy. And if you got to think about it, you got to add Jake the Snake Roberts in there because he wasn't really an on-screen character. What do you think about the recent acquisitions? And Rich, you can jump in right after.
Yeah, I think I'd also lump Colt Cabana into that list as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
I think these are all like solid additions to AEW. Some maybe right now I look at them all and I think they are solid, like sort of like upper mid carders right now. But I reckon with some of them you can absolutely make the main event stars, especially like your Brody Lees and Lance Archers. They're all four solid acquisitions. Like Cabana, as we said, he's versatile. He can do your comedy matches. He can do his serious matches. You've got Matt Hardy, who's just going to be an absolute he's just going to be fun to watch, especially just the vignettes and his interactions. And then you've got Archer, who, eventually when he gets his match, I think he's going to be, just a great signing, and same with Brody Lee.
And you, Rich?
I think everyone's like, a solid pickup. I don't think there's any like game changers here that are, going to be headlining anything here, but this is just about building up that roster depth, and, the House division gets established. You get a new manager in Jake, and then Matt Hardy's he's a versatile wealth of knowledge and experience, and can also, he's probably going to be someone that's backstage working in some capacity. It seems like AEW keeps like an all hands on deck type approach. The other week I went through and counted how many people on the roster are getting 2 checks as an office and also a wrestler person. And I think Matt Hardy can line up there too. I don't think any game changes, but these guys are just going to make the cards better. Like, you can do a lot worse than, Lance, who's also hungry and, coming off the best year of his career. And also Brody Lee, as I mentioned earlier, like, he's super hungry, and he's got kind of a hot act now, like with the Dark Order. So I think, it just depends. I can't wait to see them mix and match with the roster. Like, I hope they don't retread into, old opponents that they've done, like just keep Matt Hardy with the WWE guys. No, I want to see him, mixed in with everyone. So as long as they do that, I think, we're talking about, good additions here.
And then my thought is that they've added some size, some beef, some grown-ass men, some professional wrestlers. That's what excites me. Lance Archer's been in this game forever. He's going to be able to guide the younger people in the rosters, get them away from some of the mistakes that he's made. Matt Hardy, when you need something like a dark character or you need something like a mystical character or something like that, dude, he knows how to make those things work. He can give you ideas and be like, that's a little stupid. Like, if Matt Hardy was there for the Nightmare Collective, that might not have happened. You know what I mean? He's just going to be like, okay, but if you're going to do it, at least lean all the way into the silliness of it, which I think Matt Hardy is really good at, is leaning into the silliness of it. And, Lance Archer is going to show the big man, like someone like Luchasaurus. I'm going to show you how to be a big man. This roster is going to need a big man, and it's just like, he's going to be able to add that to it. And it's just so much creativity. Jake the Snake and Dustin Rhodes. I mean, good Lord, I'm not even a wrestler and I want to sit in that promo class. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just want to be a fly on the wall of that promo class, because those are two people that are masters at it. And, Cody's really good at it, but I doubt he's doing too many classes with running the production.
Right.
But I just think they brought some veterans in. They're gonna help guide the new people, and we got more people on the horizon, which you're hearing the Revivals contracts. I believe the second one is up in June, and then you hear about Brian Cage, who a lot of people just assume he signed with AEW.
Yes, I think he's nursing a bicep at the moment, so that's like 5 months.
Yeah, that's 5 months, but you think about it, it's all spread out, so it's keeping it fresh, and they're going to have the extra hour of TV coming, and then they're always going to have dark. It's like they have a nice roster. I thought there was clear holes in the roster, when it was first announced, but like me, I've always to myself, I had to preach patience because they had just started, and it's like, what is it? The first show was in October, and now we're in March, so that's 6 months? Look at all the improvements on the roster that they've made.
Yeah.
Look at the additions to the women's division, the size that they've gotten. They've added so much to the company, and they've started building their new stars. So I just really excited about these acquisitions coming up. Matt Hardy, like I said, when he was younger, he was my favorite Hardy. He had the side effects. He would do those different moves. But as he got older, I stopped really liking him wrestling. But that Broken Matt character in the Broken Matt universe I just thought it was genius, because it was like, you talk about people that are older not adapting with the times. That was completely adapting to what was hot in wrestling. The irony wrestling, the goofiness, the leaning into the silliness of professional wrestling. That was what was hot.
And I think you can kind of credit him for a lot of that.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, okay, this is silly. And yeah, okay, I'm going to go more silly. When you think it's dumb, I'm going to go 3 steps past that. And he might have been, the catalyst for that. Because, you look at all the people that have leaned into it. It was like Orange Cassidy. Everyone acts like, oh, this is so stupid. And I'm like, but he wrestled for how many years? 10 years without no one knowing who he was?
Bro,
and then he started.
Check this out. I was at Joey Janela spring break. Apparently he was on the card. I didn't even know who he was. And then a year later, we were all in New York together. I see Orange Cassidy getting this huge reaction. I'm like, who is this? And little I know, I had watched a guy a year prior to that. Didn't stand out at all.
Yeah. He was like he was started, like, people were saying he's been wrestling like 10 to 15 years, and it's just like no one knew who he was. And he started getting noticed when he stopped doing anything. Who knew? No, so it's kind of crazy. Like I said, I was at Revolution, and that dude was the most over person there. And that hurts me because Cody was on the show. But he was the most over person there, and it was not close. So looking forward. Like I said, I'm looking forward to how they work all these people in. So Friday, we get a message from our faithful leader, Tony Khan, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to hit the gist that the Blood and Guts show is postponed, and the Blood and Guts match is postponed indefinitely. And next week, Chris Jericho is going to confront Matt Hardy face-to-face, one-on-one for the first time ever. Everybody's like, well, they've had to wrestle, but it's going to be them promoing each other. And it's going to be Matt fully in his Broken Matt character and Jericho fully in his lay champion character. And it's going to be fucking fun. But I need to know, Ian Murray, start with you. What do you think about the decision to postpone the Blood and Guts match?
I think it makes a lot of sense. This is a match that it looks like. I think with the type of match it is, like you're expecting a lot of big stuff to happen. With a show with it called Blood and Guts, I'm assuming there's gonna be there would be some blood. And with the current situation with the coronavirus, I think that is, I think if it's for the safety of everyone, I think it's the right choice.
Mr. Rich, what do you think?
It's also like not only the safe choice. This match deserves a crowd. Like, don't blow that off until you have to. We know it's going to do a good number. And as far as like Jericho and Matt Hardy getting together, it's gonna be like a lot of Jericho's like funny shit bouncing off of Matt Hardy. So it can be nothing but good. And they're already hyping it up on Twitter. Like, when does Jericho not come through? So I trust him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the one person, like, he's so good at everything that it's like you put a mic in his hand, you put him in the ring, he's going to find a way to entertain you. Matt Hardy, I mean, being on the mic in his character is what's entertaining about him. So seeing these two people interact is going to be pretty freaking amazing. I was all about moving Blood and Guts. I was one of the people yelling that they should move Blood and Guts, like, from the beginning. I was like, I thought they should have announced it this week that it wasn't going to happen until it can be done in front of a crowd. If you're going to be in a cage match and you're going to be taking those kind of bumps and you're going to be bleeding, which you know Cody's going to bleed at some point. Man,
he's going to bump himself getting in the cage and start bleeding.
Yes. You know he's going to bleed. You know there's going to be interference. You know it's going to be all that. How are you not going to have that in front of fans? Let me say this. I feel the same way about WrestleMania. I think I'd rather you just wait. WrestleMania should be in front of 60,000 people. It shouldn't be in front of nobody. It just makes no sense. Call it something else. Call it wrestling extravaganza. I don't care. But that's how it should be.
Like, we're postponing these pay-per-views like until we can get it and build up new matches. But yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it makes sense. I had two more questions. Do you think Double or Nothing is going to happen? Rich, what do you think?
Right now, it looks like no, and that would suck big time. Because this company is kind of, it's a traditional wrestling company still, and they need that revenue, and, that would have been a nice, buy rate and, just the tradition that I feel like Double or Nothing was working to establish. And right now it looks like a no-go. And that's like the end of May. Everything could change in a week, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. I'm only working with the information that's kind of out there. Right now it seems like no.
And Murray, what do you think?
I think the same, really. I don't see it happening. Anything could happen, and everything could be given the all clear, but for now, it looks highly unlikely it's going to happen.
And unfortunately, I have to agree. I've been in pretty much, since I went work from home, I've pretty much been isolated. The last thing I did was go to the movies last Saturday, but pretty much it's been home. I made a McDonald's run, and I went to the grocery store once. Pretty much not doing anything. That being said, every time I've went out, you wouldn't know anything's going on. Everything's been crowded. The gas station has had lines. And so, if you're getting gas, you know what you're not doing? Going to park your car at home. You know what I mean? Right. I've had to have a tank for like a week and a half because I didn't think I was going anywhere, so no reason to put gas in my car. So, people in Oklahoma are not quarantining, self-containing, or anything like that. So, if this trend continues, there's no way we're going to be done with this in 2 months, which is kind of depressing because when WrestleMania got canceled, I switched my plane flights to Las Vegas. Yeah. So it would suck. So I was going to Double or Nothing because I was at the last Double or Nothing. And it would really suck if it didn't happen, but I would understand it because public safety comes first. But that would mean I would...
Yeah, and it, Double or Nothing next year. Let's make sure we're both there, Floyd.
Yeah.
That's my early plan, 2021.
Yes. I actually will turn 40 next year. And Vegas seems like a good place to be 40. So, there you go.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, and that was that. Like I said, it was funny. I had to look at it because Tiffany mentioned it. That might not happen. I'm like, that's full 2 months from now. I feel like people would learn from other parts of the world and, adjust. And they are not at all. I'm seeing people at spring break.
That was like what? Like that was like 10 minutes from my house. Like all the stuff you were saying, like in Florida, like it was in Clearwater Beach. It's like 10 minutes from my house. I'm like, really? Like
St. Patrick's Day, all that stuff. It's literally what people are gonna have to know is people don't like being told what to do. So the only way you're gonna get this to stop is to stop it. Is to say, hey, you can't come out of your house or there's going to be repercussions or whatever. But, so, the fun part, the last part, start with Murray. What are you doing? Do you have any tips for people during this isolation to help pass the time? Like, are you watching any matches? Are you binging any shows? What are you thinking?
I've been trying to watch as much from New Japan World as much as I can. I think might actually start using the WWE Network for once because I've still subscribed to it, but I just have hardly used it. So if I can finally use that huge archive they have. I've still got work to go to because I work in a shopping market, so I still have to do that. I've got my PlayStation finally being used as well because for a long while I wasn't on that for ages, and now I'm on it a lot more often. So it's just finding something to do really.
Rich, I'm probably taking some content from your show. What are you suggesting?
I suggest one. People need to wash their ass for one. Don't forget about doing that. So I would probably say today I watched Okada and Omega 4. Kenny Omega's big IWGP title win, and that's like a movie in itself. Start using that network. I was working from home all this week, and I watched a couple episodes of Monday Nitro. I was watching some old Starcades. Just anything you've ever had an affinity for. And, if you're a wrestling fan, I would say just go check it out. Like what else you really have to look forward to right now? Besides like empty arena shows, which are cool, but, they're not the same. So if there's anything you didn't see, I would recommend checking that out. Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin just had a really good conversation on the WWE Network. Watch some of those Bret and Austin matches. You can't fuck with those. And then all those G1 matches that you might have, skipped over or not got to, it's a perfect time to go check those out. There are a lot of things, if you're someone that has you like video games, dive headfirst into those, but make sure you're still you don't overdo it, because then you'd be like, damn, it's only been 2 days and I've just zoned out completely. So I think it's important to just switch up what you're doing. I do music, so I can always dive into that. So, I think it's going to be something, for, if you are at home and you're stuck, you don't really know what to watch, I would probably recommend, go watch and see how some of this stuff used to be, like in the 90s and, the late 90s. Just see what everyone's talking about, and decide for yourself, because there are a lot of things that, I liked back in the day, and then there's, stuff that's just trash. So go find out for yourself, especially with WWE, repainting the history all the time. So it's all right there. So you can go check it out.
Yeah, my thing is, anytime I'm in the Social Suplex, I'm on the Social Suplex Discord, I'm in the Social Suplex, we got our Facebook chat. Anytime someone suggests a match and I have a way to watch it, I go watch it. Because it like literally, if I'm watching a TV show, I will press pause and go watch that match. And I got a whoa, I got a list that I wrote down of different matches that people have suggested because, like a lot, I'm very honest about my indie wrestling life. It was non-existent before 2017, 2018. So, so when people say anything like, "Oh, this random match from 2012 or whatever," I'm gonna go watch it because I didn't watch it then. I wasn't into it then. I didn't know who a lot of these people were then. So that's something I'm doing. I have PlayStation 4. There's this free to download game called Warframe. I've been playing a lot of that. My wife does not like that, but I've been making up for that by cooking and cleaning because I'm here all the time. And that's one thing. Make sure you stay on top of your cleaning because when you're in and out, you don't notice the smells. But when you have to sit in it, yeah, you notice all of it.
Yeah.
So make sure you stay on top of your cleaning and all sorts of things. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to cleaning off my DVR, watching TV shows that people have suggested that I went past. But, yeah. But you can always, if you're bored, you can always just hit up at AT Elite Pod on Twitter. And, just ask me a random question and I'll answer it. But yeah, next week, the only thing I know, because I don't know if, and let me ask you this, because I've been trying to keep up. Are they postponing like everything that they had planned or just that one match? So are we still getting
I think it's just that one match.
So right now we're still getting a street fight next week.
I think I also heard, I heard something about, I think it was like Wardlow versus Luchasaurus in a lumberjack match.
Yeah. Which is weird. So, yeah, because I guess it comes from MJF being pissed at the Jurassic Express and having beef with them. What else? Did we have anything else? Or that they announced? I tried to keep a list, but like I said, the list kind of got deleted. No pun intended, because I didn't know if they were delaying everything or just that one particular match. But we'll probably hear from the Dark Order. We'll probably hear from Lance Archer, which I'm looking forward to. How you feel about a Lance Archer Cody match at Double or Nothing? How excited are you for that, Rich?
I wish he was wrestling Kenny, but I guess it'll do.
Man, Cody Kenny would be a good match.
No, I mean Lance and Kenny. trying to stay far away from these Cody and Kenny matches. I've seen two. I'm good. I think they just need to. I trust them to write a good story to get there. Lance Archer's going to be hungry to bust his ass, and it'll actually give Cody someone to fight that actually looks like they're dangerous, rather than it's like Shawn Spears or MJF, who no one's really afraid of. They just kind of hate that person. So if Archer can just get more over as a monster, it'll kind of like have the similar effect that the Wardlow Cage match had, because you kind of was like, man, Cody got to go in there and fight. Like it ain't no like bullshit that is really going to help him here. So if they can recapture that energy, I think Archer obviously being a better wrestler than Wardlow, they'll be able to figure it out and give us something good.
Yeah. You want to know something weird? Is like my whole little headcanon. You'll be shocked to hear this. I kind of want Lance Archer to like destroy Cody in their match. I think it would give Cody more of a storyline, something to build to, because he keeps building to these kind of one-match things and it's done. You know what I mean? I want him to be like, oh, you got embarrassed. Now you got to get tougher, and then set that up for another match and maybe get his win back before moving on.
Yeah, he's I think I heard Mike Sempervive talk about this. Like he's hot-shotting a lot of like angles really fast. Like he's blowing through like a bunch of people turning on him. Different stuff like that. He just has to be careful, like without running out of things to do.
Yeah, and you know what? even though I got beef with Mr. Sempervivi, Vivi, whatever his name is. I got beef with him. I gotta say that to me that was one of the things that he said that makes sense. Like, I love Cody. Honestly, whether he wins or loses matches doesn't, really affect me. I'm just watching wrestling. I love the way he performs. But it was just like, yeah, it's like, you wrestle this guy, he's gone. Like the Shawn Spears thing, I thought was going to be stretched out over 6 months or 3 months, and it was just like, okay, feud done. Jericho, 1 match done. MJF, 1 match done. I would like to see him be in multiple matches with someone, whoever it is. Maybe Lance Archer at Double or Nothing, maybe then do like a last man standing or bunkhouse brawl or whatever the hell he wants to pull from the 80s at All Out or something like that. I just think that would make more sense. As much Cody as I can get on my screen, I'm happy with, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I would like to see him have an actual feud rather than these just one.
So one question: whenever Blood and Guts happens, right, and if like they all got to make their entrances and they're not like all out there already together, like when it's time for Cody to come out, like if he doesn't come out like first in the cage, is he gonna do the full entrance? Like, are they gonna do the choir joint and they're gonna lift him from under the stage, and blow like a minute or so of the period before he gets in the Blood and Guts cage match?
I would just like your entrance should be that of the star, and since he is the shiniest, brightest star in wrestling, I think coming from the ground to the lights is like absolutely necessary. So I don't know.
You gonna leave Matt Jackson in there to get killed?
So I am all for him doing whatever it takes because he is great. Thank you.
So funny.
Yes. I'm just saying, Cody is on another level, so his entrance has to be on another level. It just has to be. I don't know. Anyway,
you gotta make sure the periphery stuff is on point.
Hey, Rich. Hey, Rich. I'll see how much you love Cody. Hey, I'll pay for your Vegas trip if you wear nothing but Cody stuff while you're there.
Unbelievable.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. I got plenty of gear. I got plenty of gear for you.
I would have to get my own Nightmare Family jacket.
Yes.
You think Cody would give you one too?
I got you, man. I'll put the Rich name on there and everything. I'm just saying. I got you. You come all nightmared out. I got your trip. You ain't paying for nothing.
Oh my God.
You want to drink after the show? Floyd's got it. I will convert you, or I will buy you.
Got a price? Okay. Kenny would not approve of such behavior, and neither will Greg. My boy Maserati. Nah, man. We Kenny's out.
Come on over to the Nightmare Family, man. We're always accepting guests.
I mean, I'll sell out.
As I say, unlike the Dark Order.
Be careful how loud I'm saying because I don't want Tiffany to get upset with me either. So I'm just keep moving.
As I say, unlike the Dark Order, you get a spiffy jacket with us. Come on. Dark Order, you get a nasty mask. You get a spiffy jacket with the Nightmare Family. With your name on it and everything. Yeah.
I mean, they have QT Marshall, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
High flying extraordinaire. Excellence of QT Marshall.
Yes.
Only upset WrestleMania weekend was canceled because we couldn't find a way to get QT versus Will, somewhere.
Oh, it's so crazy. He's so unassuming when you meet him. QT is just there. And then he wrestled, and he's like, oh, this guy can actually, kind of wrestle. It was like, very interesting because I remember hearing that he had a school and that he was training people, and I was just like, that guy?
Him.
Yeah, him. He's training people. And it's like, all right. I remember I was like sitting next to him. I had my little turnbuckle pad where I could have got him to sign it. And I was like, no, I'm good. Seriously. I'm not even kidding. I was just like, I know he's the guy that's around Cody, but I didn't think he was talent. Shit. I saw his first match, his Cody match against Butcher and the Blade, and it was just like, huh, they can go. This dude can go.
It was just awesome. High flying brilliance.
Hold on, yeah.
James is furious right now. Listen to this.
James is a Cody stan all the way. He just doesn't know it yet. It's in his soul. And I heard him reluctantly talking about the music of AEW, and I was like, and then he tried to say all the wrestling music is trash. I'm like, no, the music of AEW is amazing. I was like, let me tell you, because with 15 minutes left, y'all kind of did y'all was wrapping up, and I almost turned it off, and then I kept listening, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? Then they're burying me by name. I'm like, come on, what's going on? But thank you, Rich. You fought the good fight. You fought the good fight on the AEW music. Lucha Bros and Proud and Powerful's music go hard. I don't care what nobody say about that. I love both their songs. But wrestling music has always been like the generic music of, in general. But those,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for more like specific examples. Like, is it like, is it the music trash, right? Or is it everyone's themes that are in the promotion? Like, I don't know. Because most of the stuff I hear is like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I like Sammy G's music. I love Sean Spears' music. I think Sean Spears' music, and I hope Sean Spears never hears it, I think his music is way too good for him. So, yes, I was like, that is the music of a star, and you are not a star, so stop it. Give that to someone else.
I don't know if there's someone like that matters on the show that just has just turn the channel like when you hear this song. Like, I don't know. Like,
dude, yeah, the first time I saw Sean Spears' entrance with that music, he's in the chair and the lights on, he's got the towel over his head, and I'm like, oh, this dude's about to beat Cody. Yeah, this dude's about to beat Cody. I'm like, he's about to beat Cody's ass. And then he comes out and just takes that L. Yeah, just takes that L. And I was like, man, I was really thinking they should have gave this interest to somebody else. I'm like, but no, I have no problem. I've liked the AEW's music. It is most of the music is hip hop and bass, even the heels, which is kind of crazy. And the two biggest songs, of course, are the Fozzy song and then Cody's song, which technically that's the heel face of the company and the face of the company. So they should kind of have the big songs. And Moxley is a no-nonsense music kind of guy. He just
I think his music is good too. Like, is it are they talking about the home promotion music, themes that Mikey Ruckus makes? Because
do people just be sitting around banging and sitting around listening to wrestling music? Is that what people do? I mean, Cody's music is my alarm, but that's about it. You know what I mean? That's. And then I listen to wrestling music on wrestling shows. So I I don't know. Is wrestling music something you're supposed to be able to sit around and drink tea to or something? I don't know. I'm just asking the questions because I don't know how people listen to it. I'm like, You know,
like the Hybrid 2 one, I could see people going either way on that one, and I don't know. I kind of like the. It feels like with the Lucha, not the Lucha, the Jurassic Express. Sorry, I almost did it now. Yeah. It's like some exploratory, like National Geographic music. Like I think it fits them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not really huge on the Best Friends music, but they've had that forever. But I don't know. It's
so we just all agree Semper V's is horrible person, and he doesn't know music. I just think it's a narrative people ran with without actually digging into what they like and what they don't like. If we laid them all out on the table and was like, all right, is this theme good? Is this theme bad? Like there'd be way more in the good column, I think. I completely agree. Murray, you kind of in the background on this. What do you think about AEW's music, sir?
They do have a lot of good. They do have a lot of good themes. Themes are like, of course, I bring up Kenny Omega's theme. I've always preferred his New Japan theme, but his AEW theme is still a good theme. Cody's theme's up there for me. Private Party's theme, just they're all really good. They're all good themes, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Private Party is just like, yeah. They say that you want to sound like. I think y'all say that it wants to sound like Shots, and I'm like, that's exactly what they want to sound like. That they do it during their match. There was no. I don't think there was no. They weren't trying to hide anything there. It was like.
I think it's just like, like James said, it was too on brand. Like, I felt that way about Kona Reeves' theme. Like, it's the finest. So, like, it's just too much. It's like, but I don't know. Private Party's like, because I've actually listened to it. I've listened to it in, like on Tidal or whatever. And it was like, okay, there's a whole intro. There's like, this is the part they play during the TV. Like, so, whatever.
Say, AEW can't make Kona Reeves work. That's all I'm just
even the great Tony Khan.
Yeah, they can't make that work.
Even the great booking excellence Tony Khan.
Yes. No, they can't make that work. I've never gotten his gimmick. He was like the first time I saw him and this has nothing to do with WWE. I looked at him and I was like, I do not want to see you do anything. Like at all, like on leave. I was like, just leave. I don't want to see you. I don't know. Like I said, I'm generally give everybody a shot, but it was just like no. His characters have never done anything for me. So whatever. Yeah, I guess that's the show. Plugs. You got a plug, Murray? You got some plugs for us?
Yeah, sure. If you can find me on Twitter at MurrayBone44. I would say I've got something planned for my columns, but considering most of my things are previews about New Japan, and New Japan is pretty much non-existent at this point, it's hard to find something, but I'm sure I'll probably find something to write about. And yeah, that's probably all my plugs.
And Rich?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RichLatta32 or at One Nation Radio. Check out One Nation Radio on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. And, you can see me sending out viral tweets and getting blocked by Braun Strowman and various other people that, are uncomfortable with themselves.
Yes, and it is funny because I definitely leave that kind of stuff to Rich. I occasionally have my thoughts, but I saw that blow up.
I don't know, man. My words be touching people sometimes. Like it's just like I don't really try to, but it just happens.
Oh man, again, that's why you're my second favorite rapper. You speak to the soul. But Braun Strowman, I was like, I'm not gonna get into that, but I'm just like, maybe someone should run his Twitter. You know what I mean? It's just like. Because you got to have friends that say, hey, you probably shouldn't tweet that. And then you not tweet it. That's good stuff when you're a public figure. I don't know. I've always liked Braun. I've always
Same here.
Very highly of him as a wrestler. I am one of those people that I don't need the people that I like to be good people. So
I'm still gonna think highly of him as a wrestler.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. I can disagree with you politically, socially, whatever, and still think you're a good wrestler. You know, like I said, no one will ever mistake me and JBL as friends. But, you know, doing his heel run, he entertained me. You know what I mean? And I will gladly say he entertained me for a lot of his career. So it's just one of those things. It's like, but that one in the event of what we're going through now, that was something to me with Braun. I will just say this. That's something you say to your friends and laugh about, but you never tweet it out.
Right.
That's all. That's it. You know, you never Instagram post it or whatever. Tell all your friends that exact same thought. Laugh. Whatever. Man, these people suck. Whatever you want to do. That should have been your private thought. That's but you can follow us at AT Elite Pod. You can email us at allthingselitepod@gmail.com. Follow Tiffany at All Elite Tiffany. Follow Amy at Phoenix AEW. Make sure you go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Illinois has been shut down, so their people can't work. So when you order a shirt, you will have the option to hit on that donate button and throw them a little bit of money. I'm trying to think of something I can do to help out, because I have a lot of memorabilia around here that I don't know where it is. So I think I should find some so I can help some people out. But, take care of each other. I'm going to throw that out there. Just take care of each other. Do what you can. I'm not saying go broke, trying to help people. Just make it, just like if you got a little bit more than you can, a little more than you can eat, and you know somebody that don't got enough, hook them up. That's all I'm saying. And this show, of course, is represented by Power Slam TV. Make sure you check them out. Use the code Social Suplex to get your first month free. Anything else you two would like to add?
Yeah, pretty much what Floyd said. Just, try to take care of everyone and try to flatten this shit. And hopefully, we ride this shit out. We're going to keep, bringing you good stuff here on Social Suplex Podcast Network, because one thing that thing's not going to do is stop us from talking to each other. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And Murray, how's it affecting you over in your part of the world, sir?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's affecting what I can do, because I think tonight I was actually, there was meant to be an indie show I was meant to be going to in my hometown, but that obviously got cancelled. And yeah, just stay safe out there, really. Just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I was going to say, we are the proclivity for positivity for a reason. Just help where you can. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to tell people to go over and be above and beyond or anything like that. And if you need help, don't be afraid to ask. This is the time. This is the time to do it. But just remember, whether it's home, school, or work, or whether you're working at home or you're at school at home, or however they're confusing, always do your best to be elite.